Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Staff Sergeant Manners, your local Kalamazoo Air Force recruiter, and I wanted to make a video today to simply talk about some of the reasons why I joined the Air Force in particular, and so it can give you a little background as to who I am, and hopefully if you watch this before making an appointment with me or meeting with me, it'll make our conversation a little easier as you'll have some insight as to why I joined, and hopefully, as I share my Air Force story, you'll find some things that are valuable in it and hopefully you can relate to. So I'll kind of go back to the beginning of my kind of post-high school life. So, I went to high school, progressed as everybody else, graduated, and then obviously, what do most people do? Most people end up going to college. So I ended up doing that route. I went to a local community college where I lived in Traverse City, Michigan, called Northwestern Community College. And when I went to community college, I was just going down the path that I thought would kind of bring me happiness, just like, you learn from the past and see your peers, and that's just kind of common wisdom, like you gotta go to college to get a degree or something like that. So I did do that, and I eventually graduated with an associate's degree, and then I kind of came to a crossroads, right? So I changed my degree and kind of plans in my head multiple times by the time I got my associate's degree, and then I wasn't really sure what to do at that point. So I kind of just essentially just worked, and then I never really picked it up, never pursued, higher education than that, because I knew that was going to cost me, a lot of money and stuff. If I didn't know what to do, then why the heck am I going to go and spend all this money at a university or something? So I ended up working as a cook and a dishwasher in a kitchen for many years. I was pretty much at the local hospital there for a while, like 5-6 years, working in that position. And I started to get to the point where, I was in my mid-20s and it just wasn't fulfilling. And I tried to step outside, right, my comfort zone. I tried to, apply for other jobs, and I just didn't get hired for one reason or another, and it was kind of deflating at times, for sure. I got a job as a phlebotomist at one point, and I only did it for a week, and then I was like, this is too hard. I didn't like it, so I went right back to the kitchen, right? So I definitely had problems, some struggles for sure in my early 20s trying to figure everything out. And during all that time, my one friend Josh Jacklin, shout out to Josh Jacklin, he decided to take a chance and join the Air Force himself. And it was funny because looking back on it, I was trying to talk him out of it. I was like, dude, what are you doing? We can hang out, we can get an apartment together and whatever, live our life here and we'll be cool. But he saw one of his friends join and the success he had and everything, and he wanted the same. So my friend Josh ended up leaving for the Air Force as an air traffic controller. And when he came back on leave one day, I was just kind of picking his brain about it and everything, and he just told me the quality of life he experienced in the Air Force and just how much it changed his life, right? So for the better. So I was like, I never thought of the military. I thought in my mind I'd never joined in a million years. Just because growing up in Michigan, especially in a small town like I did in Traverse City, you just really don't know too much about the military or the Air Force in general. So, after getting some insight like that, it finally gave me the courage to really start thinking about it, right? So after that, he went back to his base. And then I was just kind of working still, and I finally came to pretty much an epiphany during my time there working as a cook. And then my final year, I actually did get another job as a medical logistics technician, but it was with the same hospital. So, that was a great job, worked with great people, but again, kind of long-term prospects of that weren't looking great. So I was just thinking to myself, like, I would forever regret doing something or not doing something that I know could potentially improve my life, can get me out of this small town, right? Can help me pay the bills. So I was in my mid-20s. I lived with roommates and everything, and that was the only way I was going to be able to get by, is if I had multiple roommates. So, I kind of wanted some of that, independence of my own eventually, and I just wanted to be a little more financially stable and ultimately boost my confidence, because a lot of those years, my high school and my mid-20s, I lacked quite a bit of confidence, and so that was something I certainly wanted to develop. So eventually, the fear for me, I just remember having this thought, like, the fear of staying in my small town. I've really never left. I've only been on the state like once or twice. The fear of that and not challenging myself to be the best version of myself and to get out and meet new people and experience new things. The fear basically of the unknown and pursuing that journey got outweighed finally by my fear of being stagnant and staying in one place and everything. So I finally ended up going to my recruiter, and shortly thereafter I joined the Air Force in 2015, and looking back on it, it was one of the most outstanding decisions I've ever made. I really can't be thankful enough for all the opportunities that the Air Force has provided me over the years. In 5 short years that I've been in, I've been able to do like so many things that I would have never been able to do if I were in the Air Force. And I would say this too, because I had no military family or anything in the Air Force or other branches, so it was really a terrifying experience. Like the prospect of going to basic training and everything. So I'm with you guys. Like, I'm being scared of that. But it's certainly something you can achieve and something you can overcome. And from that experience, I just grew so much as a person through basic training. Really learned a lot about myself and made some friends and everything like that. So overall, while it was a very frightening prospect, at the end, I couldn't be happier with that, because the Air Force, one, that helped establish some confidence, right? After basic training. So I established some confidence. I finally was getting a nice salary. So on the 1st and 15th of every month, I was getting paid, and that allowed me to financially plan and everything. And probably the biggest thing that I would say about the Air Force that I'm thankful for and I have a lot of gratitude for is just simply the people you meet in the Air Force, right? So you're gonna be meeting people from all over the world, all over the globe, all over the country. So that was a really great experience. And I eventually met my wife, Chelsea, at my first base in Patrick Air Force Base, Florida. And she's made my life so much better. She's amazing. And we had our daughter, Ivy, and we have another one on the way, and I just couldn't be happier with being able to start a family and be able to provide for a family and everything with someone who just has 2 associate's degrees, right? So being able to do that with those credentials, I mean, there's no other job in the country that's going to give you opportunities like that with as little experience as you need to join the Air Force. Just a high school diploma, and this can all be yours too. So it's incredible. I bought 2 homes with a VA home loan, been all over the country so far, and just really met amazing people and currently work with amazing people. So I would just say, I understand the fear of the unknown and joining the military, specifically the Air Force, but you guys can do it, all right? And you don't want to go through life with something left on the table, right? With an adventure you didn't pursue because of kind of your fear or simply just comfort with where you're at, your complacency in life. Maybe you just get too comfortable, and then 20 years go by and you look back and you're in your mid-30s or 40s and you just realize there's a lot of opportunities left on the table. So With that said, I'd be happy to answer any questions you guys have about the Air Force. That's my job, is to make sure you guys have all the right information to make an informed decision on whether joining is right for you or not. So with that said, I hope you enjoyed this little glimpse into why I joined the Air Force, and hopefully there's some content in there that you could relate to, and I hope to meet you and talk to you guys soon. Peace.